Let's make sure everything's going to work here. Okay, I should be live. Let's see. Yes. All righty. Let's just make sure that this is working. Okay, great. It is working. So welcome to those of you who are logging in to view the live. I am going to go ahead and pull up the comment box on my phone. So I don't want you to think I'm texting or something like that, but I do need to watch my phone because it doesn't show up on the way we're doing this here on Zoom. Hey, Asha. So the way that this software works, I'm going to have you, Asha, and then the other ladies who log on, just go ahead and I'm going to do an intro and then I'm going to talk to Elizabeth and then I'll talk to you, Asha. So if you want to just turn your video off for now, then I'll cue you in. I didn't really think it through because I'm spontaneous like that.
Oh my gosh, sorry. And I'm
no, you're doing great. You're doing great. Thank you for being here. And just you can just listen and then I'll cue you in when the time is right.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how to
it should be in the bottom. Perfect. Oh, you got it. Great. Awesome. Okay, so welcome. We've got Haley here. We've got Licia. We have Takesha. We have Leslie. I'm so happy you're here. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, I am wearing my pajamas. I was just talking to our first guest, Elizabeth, and telling her that these are my lucky pajamas that I bought the year that we launched Origin. And that was a really important moment because for many years, I had really been wondering what I was supposed to be doing with my career. And this, I'll give the quick backstory of how this came to be because it's related to these pajamas. Usually I don't do Facebook Lives in my PJs, but I am today. I had a book come out called Money, a Love Story in September of 2013. And very shortly after that book came out, I felt creatively dried up. I felt like I had not much more to say on the topic. And I wondered if I would ever feel creatively tapped in again. And I went into what I now know was an incredibly valuable, productive time. But at the time, I really super judged myself because I thought everyone else seemed like they knew what they were doing. I thought everyone else who had books come out around the same time was further ahead. I really judged myself for where I was at. Now, during that time, in 2014, I got pregnant with our first daughter. I had her in 2015. We had a really rough go at the first year of parenthood, as many people do. I had a traumatic birth. She was sick. It was really hard. And then October, when she was 14 months old, I got this idea to write a blog post called Let Mother Nature Be Your Financial Planner. And I was really geeking out on thinking about how could we organize our financial activities around the 4 phases of the moon and the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle to make them more effective and to have more fun with it and to really tap our financial actions into this more spiritual embodied framework of cyclical living. And as I was doing this, I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if I planned my whole year this way? Not just my financial actions, but our promotions and my projects. And then I talked to my husband, Mike, about it, who's my business partner. And he said I think I'm going to teach like a beginning of the year course for, like a webinar for women to learn how to run their businesses cyclically. And Mike said, that is not a webinar. That is your work. That is your program. And so thus Origin was birthed. And the first time we launched Origin publicly in May of 2017, I took my little buns to Target and I bought these pajamas for our first ever Origin PJ Party Q&A. And at the time, Mike and I were living with our daughter Penelope in this tiny, really kind of gross hovel of an apartment that was this in-betweener place. And we have since upgraded, and I'm really happy to be in my home now. And we have welcomed over 1,000 members into Origin since that time. And you are going to hear from some of them tonight. So that's the story of the jammies. Welcome to everyone who's logging in. I see we've got Melissa, Sue, Megan, Nikolai. So welcome everybody. And we are going to go ahead and get started with my first guest. We have Elizabeth Cohen. So Elizabeth, if you want to unmute yourself and turn your video on, that would be fantastic. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. So Elizabeth, when did you join Origin?
I joined Origin in this time last year.
Okay,
So
January.
Yeah.
January 2018.
By a very trustworthy person to me.
Amazing, amazing. So a friend of yours told you about it?
Actually, I had just done Eliza Reynolds' retreat in Kupalu, and her and her mom had suggested it. And I thought anything that comes from them must be golden. And I was right. And that's where I came from.
That's so cool. I actually just had a conversation with Syl today, Syl Reynolds of Mothering and Daughtering. Eliza and Syl do incredible work over at motheringanddaughtering.com. If you are a mom of a teen or a preteen girl, you must read their book and do their work. So that's so cool. I didn't know that you came through them. They are just absolute dear friends. Syl and my mom have been friends for 35 years, and Eliza and I became instant friends when we met by accident. Okay, but back to you. So where were you in your life and business when you heard about Origin? Kind of give me the landscape of how things were going.
Yeah, so for me, I'm a clinical psychologist and I was working in private practice, having a solo practice. So I was carrying about 25 to 27 clients a week. And I was primarily working myself. I had just, I think the beginning steps had been that I decided to get a better office than I had been in kind of a hovel. You were saying hovel about the apartment. And I thought, oh, maybe I deserve a little bit bigger office. It feels like renting an apartment. And I moved from a basement office to in Columbus Circle. And so it just really felt like I was arriving. And I knew a lot of clinicians who hired other clinicians to see patients they couldn't see. But I was always afraid of that. I thought, oh, that's just too much training. And I was really attached. I think in one of the Maven Master classes, someone talked about your ego. Like my ego was so involved in my work. Like I thought people are coming just to see me. They need me. How could I ever give them to somebody else? I just had so much in the game. Like I just had too much in the game of myself. And once I started being a part of Origin, that just started kind of floating lightly away. I think it came from the support of the other women. I think seeing other women soar helped me realize that I don't have to, in some ways, be the only person soaring. Like there's this weird, like female aloneness that I think I felt like it was all on me. Like, oh no, like all these people are doing this fantastic work. Like I can hire a fantastic person who will be like the Origin of it, and then it'll just grow. I think the community really helped me break.
That's so cool.
And like solo, feeling like I had to do it myself.
And then you reported in about some pretty remarkable changes that you made in your business since that time. So it's only been a year.
Yeah.
So tell me about, so you were seeing all your patients yourself.
All my patients myself.
And now what are you doing?
Basically just doing that, writing notes, doing billing. I was just kind of running the ship. And I felt like it was contained. And some of the most, I think the most significant, well, there's so many significant shifts from origin, but the 80-20 practice changed almost everything. I wrote down what I was spending my time doing and what was really growing my practice. And I was spending so much time scheduling, returning emails, billing, all these things that I could easily hire an assistant to do. And it turned out that I knew I wanted to hire a woman. There was someone I knew that came into my life in that way. And I hired her right away, and I haven't looked back. And I actually, because of her help, I've been able to, in this past year, I became a sole corporation, an S corp. And so I have, I hired employees. They have workers' comp, all of that she helped me with. And I never could have done it. I have 2 kids, 13. I never could have done it with the kids, my full-time practice, my commitment to be around for my kids after school. And I couldn't have done I just couldn't have done all of it. And I really realized with the 80-20, like my gift, like what I can bring is my clinical work. That's what I can bring. And I can put time into referrals. That's really what I love. And that's really what brings me business. So that was so amazing.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. And then you've also brought some of your business. So you are beginning, there's a couple of other aspects, and I don't want to put words in your mouth in case I say the wrong thing.
So I had never thought, right. So this is a kind of a funny story because a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, somebody said, you have to have a website. I didn't even have a website. I can't speak for all therapists in New York City, but many people do not. There's a feeling that, you're supposed to be, since you're supposed to be somewhat of a blank slate, putting yourself out there. So I thought, I'm never doing a website. I was actually afraid that people would read things about me and then not want to see me. Like I had this weird kind of, I think, imposter syndrome that I would have tricked people into coming in. And then once they're in, they'd like me, but they wouldn't. I mean, it was just this thing that I think we do to ourselves as women, but I was doing to myself. So I did a few years ago a Squarespace website. And then when I started listening to Origin and I realized where I was in this cycle, I realized I really have to have a strong website. So then I went right to Origin. I found the most amazing Empress who does not only do website design, but she helps you see your vision. And she said to me, you're staying too small. You need to go bigger. Like she was my coach. And she's been with me ever since. So I launched a really big website and I learned, I know this sounds like you told me to say these things, but I learned from all the how-tos, like how to get on, how to help a reporter out. I learned that their podcast would be a possibility. And I tried that. Like everything you taught, I'm like, why can't I just try that? Hi.
Hey, I'm just going to say hi real quick to Autumn. So Autumn, I didn't quite practice the tech ahead of time. So what I'm going to have you do is just, that's totally fine, Elizabeth, is just mute out and turn your video off. And then I'll chat. I'm going to finish up with Elizabeth, then we're going to chat with Asha, and then I'll cue you when it's time. Cool?
Okay, got it.
Thanks for being here.
Sure, yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Okay. So Elizabeth, you were telling me about the amazing Empress woman in Origin who you worked with your website and your creative vision.
Yeah. And she was amazing. She didn't just help me with the details of it, which she continues to help me with, but she knew what I wanted. I don't know how to explain it, except that she is also an intuitive. So she just combined the intuition piece and the website. It was amazing. And then I learned from a lot of your how-tos and one of your master classes about help a reporter out. And so I signed up for that. And then I've had myself in 15 articles since then, in probably less than a year. And I just kind of type these like things that are fun about different topics that I can talk about. And I would never have even known that existed if it wasn't for Origin.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You're such a great example of, obviously, you're in private practice, so you run your own business, But I don't know that like a clinical psychologist would, not all of them would necessarily consider themselves entrepreneurs.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. In fact, when I was talking to people about Origin, I said they didn't teach us at all about business in graduate school, but we are entrepreneurs. Like the first time you realize you have to pay quarterly taxes, you're like, wait a minute, I am an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just so happy to have, to hear that this has created some structure and resources to learn some of the skills that weren't taught in your professional training.
Absolutely. And I can't separate out the fact that I've been able to do all these things because of your coaching and tracking my energy. Like there's no question that the two of those go together, because you've said this before, I think, like you can read a ton of books that give you ideas about what to do for business, how to make a plan, but the combination of the wisdom and the teaching and then also tracking my energy has just made me able to do so much more.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. So last thing, what would you say when you talk about tracking your energy, can you talk a little bit about what that looks like for you on a daily basis and maybe some of the choices that you make differently now than before?
Absolutely. So I found the daily planner, I found incredibly helpful. I had even just having it as a circle eases me because first of all, I'm like, we'll go back to sleep at one point today. Like I'm up for the rest of my night. There is sleep again, which I do love. And I started really tracking and noticing that I was no good at night or after basically 5 o'clock. And Kate, had been working until 9:30.
Whoa.
And I would say to friends like, oh, people shouldn't be paying me. It's too late. I would be making jokes about it. But then I thought, I got to change this. Mm-hmm. And so now I only work from, I realize in the morning I have a lot of energy. So I work early till about 3.
Great.
So that was a big one. And then the weekly planning. I mean, I did no planning. I basically had this feeling of like, okay, wake up. What do I have to do today? And now I know what the whole week is. So I was able to know that we had to eat dinner tonight around 6:30 so that we could all be ready and quiet for this time.
Look at how you're taking care of yourself. Yes. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Well, where can people find this beautiful website that you created?
Yes, they should check it out. It's drelizabethcohen.com. Awesome. And I'm happy to share the beautiful Empress's name and information too for the website. I think it's really cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a member of Origin. I love reading your comments and I love having you in the community. I'm totally honored that you joined me tonight and that you're part of the program. So thanks for sharing your wisdom, your story. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And hi to all the other Empresses and welcome to the new one. So
yes, thank you so much. Have a beautiful night.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, so before I go live with our next Empress, I'm just going to go here and into the comments just to make sure and see if there's anything that, okay, great. So hi, Nadina, and Shannon is asking, I'm curious about the program, but I'm not an entrepreneur, though I'm aspiring to be. I'm also not a mom, but my fur babies count, right? So I'm curious if the content would work for me. So Shannon, there's really nothing in Origin. We're for all people who identify as women or who desire to incorporate more feminine energy in their careers. So there is definitely a focus on entrepreneurship. However, there's no content that is specific to mothers. We are really about women who care about other people. So that could be, and other beings, your fur babies completely count. So there you are absolutely would be in the right place. We do have members who are not yet entrepreneurs, but who desire to be, or who are what we call intrapreneurs. So they may work within a company, but they are in that innovative energy where they are, my definition of an entrepreneur is somebody who creates something out of nothing. And so you can do that within a company, you can do that within your own business. And there are many, many resources that will support you along the way to manage your time and energy as you grow your business on the side, as you get it going. So lots of community to support you there, asking questions, running surveys, getting feedback, and then the resources on launching and the resources on how to manage your time and energy really apply to anybody, whether you're running a business or not. So hopefully that answers. Takesha, of course, also answered. So that's beautiful. Takesha is here. She is our head empress in the community. We call our members empresses because we are all running empires of one size or another. So Takesha's here in the comments. Thank you for being here. And she takes beautiful care of our community, along with Licia and Mary, who's in our inbox, and our other team members, and myself, of course. So now I'm so honored to invite on our next guest empress, who is Asha Frost. Asha is a medicine woman. Hello, Asha, an entrepreneur and a homeopath and a healer. So Asha, I'm just so grateful to be chatting with you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. So we have had the opportunity to meet in person, which was such a joy. And I know that a year ago-ish, was it a year ago that you joined? When did you join?
I joined, I guess, maybe the fall, but that makes sense. October 2017?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's when I joined.
That's the last time I put on these pajamas. Then I was super pregnant and they did not fit, but they fit me today, which was great. So I would like to know, how did you hear about Origin?
I actually have been following you since I read Money, a Love Story. So,
Okay.
And I remember the moment I read one quote from you. I was on the beach in Tulum. It was the best vacation ever. And then I started following you. And then I think I was just on your list. And it literally, one of your beautiful interviews, I was listening to it, and it just sparked this knowing that I had to join. So it was really, truly from following you.
Amazing. That's cool. I love that you read my book on the beach in Tulum. That sounds really lovely. I don't know what you're experiencing in Ontario right now, but we are experiencing some weather.
It's freezing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you've been really generously posting some of your origin story. That's means various things, but about this program on Instagram, and have shared really about this moment that you had when your second son was an infant and you were kind of searching. So can you share what that moment was like for you?
Yeah, it was a breakdown moment. It sort of just really hit me that I couldn't continue to do things that I'd been doing. So I just couldn't continue to have a private practice the way that I was serving people and showing up, and my energetic resources were just spent. And I just knew I couldn't go back to the life that I was living before I had him. So it was just this moment lying beside his crib and crying, listening to you share about, I think it was just about the fertile void and all of the beautiful cycles that you share and teach about in Origin. It just made so much sense to me. And I knew that I had to make a change, and Origin was the change that I decided to make.
And what has it been within the program, whether it's the community or a specific lesson or perhaps just a general philosophy that maybe bolstered your confidence to make that shift? Can you point to any? I mean, obviously it's you too. You're amazing. So I just want to be clear, I'm not taking credit. So what was that for you?
It was, at the beginning, because my son was so little, for me, really, it's all about energy. So it was the energetic space holding, knowing that there were other women with vision and with drive and wanting to create their dreams. And so at the beginning, it was that. But then when I listened to the content, I just got these little tidbits of, oh my goodness, I need to incorporate that into my business. And then quite honestly, it was actually, I saw you as a mentor doing something that I wanted to do. So it was like this, the way that you were running your business and how your business model. And I thought, this is doable. I could translate my business into this. So it was actually using that as more of a coaching space for me, and really taking in I really absorbed everything that you were teaching and the master classes were teaching and use them.
That's cool. That's really cool. So how do you incorporate the actual act of going through the content in your life?
Yeah, well, I find that I'm really inspired by it. I just love Origin so much. And so when I have space, like I will listen to it when I'm driving.
Okay.
I find that, like, or when I'm cooking, just doing things where I feel like I can take it in. And I just listen to the audios, and it seems to work really effortlessly for me. And when I wasn't getting to the content at the beginning, when my baby was 5 months old, I just trusted that if I could listen to 10 minutes of something and I got a little gold nugget, that filled me up for the month. And I just trusted that the space holding and the energetic holding was filling me up and what I needed, exactly what I needed, even if I couldn't get to it all.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because really the purpose of Origin is not to get to it all. It's to listen to what makes sense for you in your particular season of life and business, and to apply it as you have so beautifully done, so that you actually get results. Because I would much rather somebody listen to one lesson per quarter and applied it and got results than listened to every lesson. So tell me about the transition now. I know that it's new, but I'd love to know, and we spoke a little bit on the Kate and Mike show on our podcast about this, but for those who didn't hear that episode, what's happening now? What did your business look like? And then what does it look like now? And how's that going?
Yeah, it's so I had a full practice. I was doing about 2 to 3 healing circles in person a month. I was seeing between 20 and 30 clients a month. It was very, very full, and it was doing great. It was successful, but I was so burnt out. And so I would have to take breaks away from that, or I would get sick. So it was just not sustainable in any way. And it was like that for a few years before I found Origin, and I knew something had to change, but I loved it. And I loved the people I was serving, and I didn't know how to transition. So then when I joined Origin, I had little inspirations about a membership. And I had the community there. I had a Facebook community of 3,000 people that I wanted to transfer over to more of a offering. So it was all there ready to just kind of be implemented. And that's why Origin was so great, because it just gave me those steps where I could take action, the action I needed to take. I knew I needed to take it, but I needed that push to take that. So now I have my own membership, and I'm loving it.
That's so cool.
It's so amazing. And I have so much more energetic space and time for me to heal myself too, which is really important, because I have lupus, and sometimes that's, it can be challenging.
Absolutely. And you have 2 young children.
Yes, I do.
Which is also challenging.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how has, if at all, how has the way that you relate to time shifted, if at all, as a result of being a member of Origin?
Time has stretched. Like, and you speak about that in your teachings, time has stretched for me. And it's kind of magical, because I don't know, but since I started my membership, I can't believe I have time to make smoothies and dinner and all of these things that I'm just like, it's incredible to me. I have time to go for walks. So it's stretched for me. And there is truly spaciousness. So it's just a totally different, that hour for money kind of, that model wasn't really serving me anymore. And I think I was just investing so much time in the ways that weren't serving me. And now it's like, boom, there's space.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you have any reservations about joining? Were you concerned about, will I get the most out of it? Or did you have any hesitation at all?
I was just, at the time, because I wasn't working, because I just had my baby, just financial in the moment. But it was just very small. It was just very small. And then my first month, though, I was just blown away, even though I wasn't even using it all. So it was just, and again, it's just all energy. I could feel the energy. I could feel the integrity. I could feel all the investment that was being put in, and the space holding. For me, space holding is pretty big. Like that is something that I need in my life, and Origin did that for me. So after the first month, I was like, oh, I'm in.
Can you explain to me, and I think I know what you mean, but for those who might not be familiar, what exactly you mean by space holding?
Yeah, I think it's like this energetic container that is holding space for my biggest dreams. And that's what I sort of felt like. I mean, I think I was meeting it too. So I was all in. And I think that's really important. And just like meeting the energy that's being offered to you to kind of like show up to. So I think I was taking inspired action. Even in listening to 5 minutes, I felt like that was inspired action, you know, when my baby was little. But I think there's just this like vibration of women saying we're all moving through this kind of dreaming things into being together, and then having you as an inspiration, truly that mentorship holding. It's just that kind of space holding of mentorship that I found really incredible.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for that reflection. And where can people find your amazing work?
So my website is ashlafrost.com, and all of my information's on there.
Awesome. And your membership is called the Sacred Membership.
It's called, Sacred Membership.
Okay, beautiful. Is there anything else that you want to share?
Just that I feel I'm excited to see all the new members, and I just feel like if you're on the fence, just take the leap, because I really truly believe that this can change how you're doing life and bring spaciousness.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. It's always an honor to speak with you, and I love everything you're doing, and I love watching you fly.
Thank you.
So,
thank you so much
for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, I'm going to pop over to the comments again just to make sure that we're okay. So we've got okay, Melissa is saying, oh, this sounds fantastic. I'm a life coach who's launching this year. I want to incorporate my magic with my skills, my spirituality with my practicality of life balance. I need to learn how to express all of it. Yes. So that is perfect. Okay. So if you are here and considering joining Origin, you can head over to Origin. I'm typing it into the comments right now, origincollective.com. We are closing the doors to the membership tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night at midnight. So in about 24 hours, a little bit more than that. The reason for that is that this membership is about time and energy management. And I do not like to split my focus, because when I do a pretty terrible job at both of the things I'm trying to do. Multitasking is actually a myth. It's actually us just switching back and forth between tasks, and it makes our IQ significantly lower. So we focus on opening the membership and promoting and calling in our new members as one activity. And then we stop that activity. And then we focus on serving our membership, because I don't want to be promoting at the same time I'm focused on loving our members up and holding that space. Because if I'm calling in new members at the same time as I'm trying to hold space, I'm not doing a very good job at either one, which is why we only open the doors a couple of times a year. And that's it. If you go to the website after midnight tomorrow night, you will see a page up that says the membership is currently closed and you'll have to get on the wait list. So we're really quite serious about that. The other thing, and you are here, you are the first to know this very exciting announcement, is we just added in a finale bonus. So for those who are deciding to join as annual members, which means you get the whole year with 1 month free. And you also get some amazing masterclasses with myself and then Licia Morelli, who helps us run our company, on leadership and sharing your voice and getting your content out there, and marketing and project management and creating a team culture. There's a whole bunch of extra content you'll get as a bonus. When you join as an annual member, just for this enrollment period only, we decided to add in my signature course, the Money Love course, as a bonus, because so many of the women going through the Origin Workshop, which was part of this promotional period at myoriginworkshop.com. Hi, Nicole. How's it going? So with the tech aspect, I'm going to have you, I didn't really think through how it was going to go. So I'm going to have you just mute and turn off your camera. And then when it's time, no, you're good. You're totally good. I've every single person who came on the exact same thing.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, you're doing great. Hi, it's so nice to meet you.
Hello.
And I'm going to chat with Autumn and then I'll call you on, and it'll be probably in like 15 minutes. Thanks for being here. So you'll get, if you join as an annual member, you'll get the Money Love course, and you will learn how to pay off debt, how to relate to your money in a much more powerful way, how to unblock yourself in terms of any blocked areas you have around your value and your worth and your ability to charge what you're worth and earn money. And you will learn how to make the whole thing fun and actually pleasurable, because that's what the Money Love course is all about. So that course is a $297 value. And you actually, if you join as an annual member today or tomorrow, you will get that for free. An email is going out about that later, but because you're here on this Facebook Live, you are the first to know. So with that announcement, I'm so excited to welcome our next guest, who is Autumn. So Autumn, if you want to unmute and turn your video on, I would love, love, love to chat with you.
There we go.
Here.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. I hope it's not so dark. I was trying to get the light a little.
I can see you
here.
great.
Okay, good.
Are you wearing overalls?
No, so I am here.
I was like,
I'm wearing, it's an apron.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's my Nana's apron.
I love it.
I'm a cowgirl. And I used to cook with her all the time, and she died a few years ago. So it's not something I would buy usually for myself, but I wear it. I'm a cowgirl, and it's Nana's, and I was just making cookies and made some cookie soup, and so it's an apron party, not a pajama party.
You look great. I love it. I love it. Maybe next time we're gonna do an apron party, because I actually have like a fun vintage apron that I could wear.
Yeah, I actually collect them, and I actually that was one of my businesses, was making aprons at one point. So that was, one of my serial entrepreneurship things. But yeah. And it's cold here, and I'm bundled, and we're, saving some. Yeah, we can't put the heat up too high. So,
yeah, yes, I understand. Now, tell me, what's the business that you're focused on now in your serial entrepreneurship?
Right. So, what I'm focused on is, I'm teaching women's wellness, basically. I would say as an umbrella, and I've made up. I made up a thing this year. And I never know what to call myself, because I'm like a serial entrepreneur, creative, and so I've been trying to land on something, and the thing that I want to be and that I've been creating, it didn't have a name. And it didn't have a name because it never was created before, maybe, and that's one of the things that I've been really embracing in this last year, and part of that with the whole process of knowing about the cycles and the fertile void, and just allowing it to come through, and trusting. And so not trying to make myself be like someone else, fit into a box. And I have many different trainings and backgrounds. I teach Nia technique, moving to heal specifically is what I focus on. I'm also trained as a yoga teacher and a birth and postpartum doula, which I never really attended births except my own, but I was trained like several times.
Amazing.
And so I'm really interested in women's health. And I also am a student of herbal medicine for women with Aviva Ram. So that's a whole herbal women's health. I guess it would be a women's health herbal educator or something like that. It's not an actual clinician. So I thought, well, how do I put this all into something? And what I've come up with is one of the things I call myself now is a life cycle doula. And I am, this past year, have been training with Karen Brody and Daring to Rest, facilitating yoga nidra. And so that's part of it too. So the work that I do with people, it just has so much, but it's all about holding space. It's all about, I put together a system called Be the Medicine, which is really helping women to tune into their own self-healing. And in many different ways, using the many different components. So I had to call it something, and I didn't know what. I'm like, is it a health coach? Not really. Is it a soul guide? Well, not really. I mean, it's a lot of things. So, and right now I work with seniors mostly, just because that's who's showed up in my life. It's not always going to be my main focus, but it is a big part of my focus as women coming into eldership, rising elders. And I feel like I started thinking about that when I was 40, and I'm 50 now. So, yeah, really that beautiful. I want to be a doula. I feel like a woman needs a doula her whole life, not, and when you give birth.
Exactly. And we, in our culture, we don't have the rites of passage that, perhaps other cultures do, or maybe, people used to. And so I just think that that's really beautiful to stand by women and usher them into these different seasons of life is a beautiful business. So thank you for doing that work. Now, can you tell me, how long have you been a member of Origin?
So, oh gosh, it's a long time, over a year.
Yeah.
I feel like it's 2019. I think it was 2016, maybe that I joined, or 2017. 2017. It probably wasn't even existed in 2016. I don't know. I think it wasn't, it was right after your beta test round. Okay. So, I mean, I was, right in the beginning.
You're one of the originals. Yeah. I love it. And we have had a chance to have a chat on our podcast as well. So, tell me where were you, what had you say yes at that time? I know it was a couple years ago now. But do you remember where you were at and what had you say yes to this?
Yeah, I was really, just seeking connection was, I would say, the main tipping point that made me say yes. There were many things that were there that I still, that are there, all of the kind of educational components and the master classes and all of the stuff that you can learn. But the difference for me is the community, and I needed to learn in a community. And like I said before, I've taken lots of different trainings and like my NIA trainings. NIA is an incredible, amazing community, but I'm far away from a lot of people, and we don't have a thing like this, a membership that's like this. And I was really seeking that, and having it be about women and mothers and motherhood and business, and at the time it was really more focused on motherhood, and I can see that was attractive to many other women who aren't necessarily mothers, but we're all women are mothers. We're all mothering something, we all have the mother energy. And so much of my work is connected with, the gifts of the mother energy. In fact, my business is called Mother Arts. And so it just really resonated with me, all of that, and having someone who was willing to step up and say, I had dreamed about some kind of membership and I had ideas, but like you actually went out there and were like, hey, I'm just going to do this. And I was like, wow, okay. I want to be with that energy, I want to be with that energy that has that courage to step out and create a new way for women. And that's really what I've been about and my business has been about, but doing it alone is scary. And even how I just revealed this life cycle doula thing, I haven't told anybody that yet, because it's like a little scary. It's like, oh, what is that? Like, I made it up, I always thought like I have to have some permission or some kind of degree or something, but can I, screw that, like, yeah, it's just like, why do I have to wait for somebody to give me permission? So by you stepping out and giving yourself permission, it gave me permission. And that's like really feeling like there were other women there that were taking that step also. I want to be with that. So that was really a huge part of saying yes.
So it's
and
almost,
why I stay, and
yeah, I was going to ask you, I was going to say, it's almost been 2 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah. So tell me about what it is that keeps you coming back.
So it's like a lifestyle, I think. It is
that.
It's just, I was thinking about it, and I write it down as a business expense. It's like,
Absolutely.
I have my, whatever kind of other expenses that I have. You have your acuity scheduling, and I have my whatever, I have Origin. And I just, at first I was like, oh, is it like an educational? No, it's just an essential. It's something that as a woman doing business in a woman's way, in a feminine way, business of my heart, a business that integrates with my life and family, that is an extension of my life. It's not fitting into a box. I'm creating it, and it evolves, and it has seasons just like I do. And so it's something that gives me nourishment to be a part of Origin, and to be with women who are also on that journey. And it also gives me practical tools and a library, like a university of education. It's like a whole little, business school that I can digest, that I can relate to, because I don't learn in a linear way. I need to have, I love having all of the things there. And I love the way you've set it up now recently, with the way that you set up the content. So it's just really easy to access. So I can go, okay, what am I can kind of just intuit what it is that I might need, right? It might be something that was done months ago, or it might be something that I go back to that, oh wait, there was a thing about that. Let me go to that how-to lesson. And I've done that lots of times. And I don't even know what's current right now, because I'm kind of in a different place, but I know that, I get excited about your emails that this is coming up. And then I go, okay, well, I know that's going to be there. And I tuck it away. And it's like, all right, when I'm ready for that, because we're all in different stages. So yeah, it's just been so helpful. It's been such a resource.
I love hearing that. Where can people find you if they would like to learn more about what you're doing?
So my website is not live, but it's motherarts.com. And I've been trying to get over my perfectionism and just get the darn thing live. I think I did a good job tonight, because I'm like, I was all planning to like have my makeup on and have some cool pajamas and everything. And I'm like, it's like this. But
you look amazing.
Oh, thank you. But I learned from you, because I remember you saying something about sneezing, I don't remember if it was on a podcast.
No, it's like in the middle of one of my how-to lessons. Yeah. I think somebody pointed out that I sneezed, and I was like, well, I'm not going to start the whole thing over.
Right. So it's just been a wonderful journey, and I feel so much better just having, this, giving myself permission and being a part of a community that's so welcoming. And I've made so many connections. That's the other thing that keeps me here, is I have like Karen Brody with the Daring to Rest. I mean, I wouldn't have known about that, things like that. So it's just been really, really awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I love having you as part of the community. Thank you so much for sharing your story tonight and just for being part of it. I really appreciate you.
Oh, sure. Thank you. I appreciate you too. It's really just great to know you, and that you're doing this. I just so support, all of this that you're doing, and the team. I mean, I know it doesn't happen alone, and just all the ladies and Mike and, all
the ladies and Mike and Joe.
I want to give you all a big hug.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the Facebook group.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Good night.
You too. All right. Let me just see if we have any other questions here that came in. Okay. Yeah. I announced the finale bonus of the Money Love course. So anybody who joins as an annual member between now and when we close the doors at midnight Eastern tomorrow time, tomorrow, Eastern time, you will also get the Money Love course, which we've never offered this as a bonus for Origin before, but so many women who are going through the My Origin workshop said that their biggest energy leak was their money. And we thought, well, how could we help with this? Well, we can help with this because we have an entire course dedicated to plugging up your money energy leak. And so that is the Money Love course. So if you join as an annual member, you'll get the Money Love course. All right. So now, hi, Sil. It's great to have you here. So now we have our final guest, Nicole. So Nicole, if you want to unmute yourself and put your, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being the PJ party caboose.
Yeah. Well, I go to bed at like 9:30. So after this, I'll be.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I know I was once again being like, wow, am I going to make it on an 8 o'clock thing? But the good news is I love talking to our Origin Empresses. So
yeah, it's energizing.
It is energizing.
So I was looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for saying yes to the invitation. Now, how long have you been part of Origin?
I think the same amount of time as Autumn. I joined in the first group right after the beta course or the beta launch. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Amazing. And where were you in your life and business at that time?
Oh gosh, I feel like so much has changed. My son was, I guess, about 6 months old or maybe a year. He was really young. And I'd actually gone through B school in 2016. So that was kind of still fresh in my mind, but I was really at a place where I feel like crisis is too strong of a word, but I feel like creatively a lot of things were shifting for me, where I had just finished up writing my first book and kind of promoting that and feeling really drained from that experience. And I also, now that I was a mother, I just felt like in order for me to function as a human being and also continue to write and be creative, I had to figure out a new way forward. And so when I joined Origin, it was right around the time when I started really seriously thinking about, what do I want my life to look like, a few years from now? How can I begin to start thinking about growing my business and what that might look like? So I was just looking for a lot of camaraderie with other people who were wanting to do things a little bit against the grain, which, I think there isn't a ton of support out there, especially up until a couple of months ago, I had been working in the corporate sector for, the last 15 years. And so everything I knew about work was, you show up, you sit at your desk, you don't really focus on your emotional energy and your cycles. And all of that is stuff that has always been inherent to kind of how I function, but I didn't have a way to kind of express that in my work. And so after I became a mother, it was like, there is literally no option except figuring this out. And so Origin, I think what was so nice is it makes you feel like you're not a crazy person. There are other women that believe in this, that want this kind of life for themselves and their families, and that, and you have tools to be able to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that. I just want to make sure, it looks like somehow we froze, which is a bummer. Shoot. I know, because you're saying really amazing things. So
I can, where did I get lost?
Dan? Oh no, we're good.
Oh, we're good.
Just my phone. We're good.
Okay.
Okay. So,
good. Okay.
So you're an author.
Mm-hmm.
So give me the landscape of what's on your plate career-wise.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've had a corporate job for the last 15 years. I just recently became a freelancer in the last 2 months. So my family and I just moved from Los Angeles to North Carolina in December. So that move was huge for us. And it was something that was in the works for a long time. And it was a move that I'm so grateful for, because it has enabled me to now take steps to create other work that I'm excited about and really focus on my business and my writing in a totally new way. So now I'm in a zone where I'm freelancing a little bit and starting to work on some of my other stuff. So
Awesome. And
Yeah.
I actually checked out a little bit your Instagram feed before we went live. And
Oh,
first of all, it's beautiful. And second of all, it looks like you have a new book out or coming out
coming out.
When
Yeah.
is it coming out?
It's coming out in October.
What's it called?
Yeah. It's called Wild Words, Rituals, Routines, and Rhythms for Braving the Writer's Path.
So awesome. I was really excited
I'm
about
excited.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you, while having a corporate job, while moving across the country, and while having a young child, how did you manage to write a book?
I basically said no to everything else.
Yep.
was really the only way. So, and it was funny because when I wrote my first book, my life looked very different. And so when it came time to do it again, I had to figure out a new way to do it. And I was looking at, and I'm a planner, I strategize, I do, I have spreadsheets and all the things, but I was kind of going along, and the way I typically write is I call it writing in the margins, where I will often use really short chunks of time, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I write on my phone. I keep Google Docs open all the time. I just steal the time wherever I can get it. And then when I have larger chunks to work with, I'll do kind of that deep work, start bringing it all together. I had a deadline that was a year away. It seems really far when you're first starting out. But after about a month or two, I think we were having lunch on a weekend, and I just kind of looked at my husband and I said, I need help to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that I cannot finish this book this year unless we come up with a way to do it. So I had to ask for help, which I know you talk about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And for so many of us is not easy. But we came up with a plan, and I scheduled writing time on Sunday afternoons from 1 to 3. I put it in my calendar. I put it in my husband's calendar. It often fell when my son was napping, but if he didn't nap, my husband would take him to the park, or I would leave the house for a few hours. So we really just sort of committed to that time as a family to give me that space that I needed. And then I also had to say no to a lot of things that I had been doing that felt important to me, like blogging. I basically cut out that for a year. I also said no to other freelance work, even with magazines that I'd been working with for a long time, because I could literally only do the one extra thing between a full-time job and a family. The book was it. The only thing I kept was my weekly newsletter, because I felt like that was a really essential part of connecting with my audience, but that was it. So everything else had to go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, was there anything, and you do not have to answer yes to this question, but was there anything within Origin, whether it was the community or the content, that helped you to stick to your boundaries, to ask for that help, to say no, to know what was going to be essential and what could be let go?
Yeah, I can't remember which how-to it was, but I think there was a how-to I watched that was about kind of figuring out what those essential activities are.
The 80-20 rule.
Yeah, the 80-20. I love that. And I've definitely used that. And I think though, maybe more than something specific, was just kind of the culmination of everything we talk about in Origin, because I had been listening to things here and there and watching certain videos. And so it's just kind of all percolating. So I think, especially going through this past year, I felt like I had that inherent support. I knew it was the right way forward, because in my past life, a few years ago, I would have done all the things and I would have not said no. And even though I was capable of doing it and keeping all those balls in the air, so much of it was a waste of my energy, and it wasn't essential, even though I could do it. So I think that was a lesson that I've sort of learned the hard way over time. So I think, just in general, it's been such a supportive environment. So no matter where I'm at on the journey, it's like someone has gone before me. There's a how-to lesson for how to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so excited for you. And I just want to give you like a total A+.
Oh,
because your writing process is such the prime example of that's what it takes to do the work we're meant to do.
Yeah.
And like you said, we could you do all the things? Yeah. But you would be exhausted, or I don't know what you would be, because I don't know you that well.
Oh no, I would be exhausted. And I'm at the point in my life now where I'm not willing to compromise my energy at all. So, so at all, like I'm so diligent about protecting those barriers for myself. So I can do the work I need to do. And it can be so frustrating at the beginning when you realize you have to let go of some of that stuff. But the way that I have sort of learned to look at it is that it's not that I'm never going to do those other things. It's just, which thing do I have to do first to then get to the next thing, as opposed to trying to do them all at once and not doing them particularly well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you are totally speaking my language. I love it. So last thing, what has had you stay in the membership so long?
Yeah, I think for me, and what I'm most excited about now is I'm finally emerging with all of these other things that I've been waiting to do. So because my life has changed to the point where I can accommodate all these new ventures, I'm just so excited to kind of dive into the content even more, because I joined when I was really still in the fertile void with a lot of things. I was writing books, but in terms of like creating courses or doing workshops or things like that, it was all on the back burner, but I knew a time would come when it would be there. So I wanted to just be part of it and, you know, have that foundation. So now I'm staying because I'm here and I'm actually going to be able to do a lot of things that I'm so excited about, and just want to continue having that support.
That's awesome. Yeah. You are definitely coming into visibility for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's so exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, where can people find you if they want to learn more about your work?
Yes. I think the best place is to go to the Wild Words website, which is thewildwords.com. So that's where I'm blogging, book news is there. So, and we have a community, if you're a writer and a creative, that you can join. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to meet you.
Me.
And I love hearing about what you're up to. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Have
a good night.
Have a good sleep.
Bye. You too.
Bye. All right. Well, this has been so much fun getting to talk with all the Origin Empresses. Thank you all for joining me. I would love to, if there are any questions, I would, of course, love to answer them. It's my bedtime, but I will happily stay up with you if there's anything else that you'd like to know about Origin. So Patty says she just loved this. If there's anybody else who wants to chime in, please let me know. How was this conversation for you? What is one of your takeaways? Which Empress's story did you learn the most from, or did you relate to the most? I would love to know that as well. If you are interested in learning more about Origin, of course, you want to head over to origincollective.com. And as a quick reminder, if you are joining as an annual member, which is, I believe, the best way to join because it is the least expensive way in the end, most of our members stay over a year. We have a much higher retention rate than industry standard in the membership site world. So it just comes out to be less money if you pay for the annual. And when you do that, you'll get the money, of course, along with some other bonuses. So Yola says, this was amazing. I loved hearing from my fellow Empresses, a place of magic. Thank you, Yola. Karen says, fabulous. So yeah, if there are any questions, I am happy to. Yola's been here for 2 years as an Empress as well, which we love having you, Yola. Melissa says, I love how grounded all the Empresses are. Hi there, Jackie. Great to see you. So I would be happy to answer any other questions, but if there aren't any, I'm going to tuck myself into bed. I will be back at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow with a final Q&A about Origin. Again, tomorrow is the last day that you can join this time around. I'm not 100% sure when we're going to open the doors again. So if you want in, now is the time. We have completely refurbished our content. Autumn had referred to that. And we now have what's called the self-source scheduling roadmap. So when you join, That'll be the first lesson that you go through. And then it organizes you with a checklist according to 5 stages of self-source scheduling, so that you can take all of this information in a way that makes sense, in a step-by-step checklist, so that you know where to go, when, and what to do first, second, and third. So we really are setting you up for success to reclaim your time and energy. And if you would like your time to open up in the way that it has for Nicole, if you would like your own brand new body of work to come through in the way it has for Autumn, if you would like to revolutionize and completely change your business model so you have more space and more freedom like Asha, or if you would like to bring in help so you can and reorganize your days so that you can work at your prime times and also be able to grow your presence and free up your time like Elizabeth, then Origin is for you. You can come and reclaim your time and energy. So let's see. Okay, great. Oh, how often does the membership open? Melissa wants to know. Just only usually 2 times a year. Sometimes we only open once a year. Sometimes it's 2 times a year. So it's infrequent. So now's the time. If you want to get in, now is the time. And we have the best bonuses that we've ever offered during an Origin promotion. So you want to head over to origincollective.com and check those out. So Shannon wrote something. I just want to wait and see, Shannon, if you wanted to finish your thought before, hi, Leslie, before we head out for the night. So I think, oh, Shannon says, I'm looking forward to making time to find what my passion and business idea will be. Yes. And Shannon, what's so amazing about Origin is that simply by being in the community, I believe it accelerates our growth, because when we stand shoulder to shoulder with other women who are on this path to create something out of nothing, which I believe is the entrepreneurial path, we automatically are accelerated in our growth as well by simply being part of the collective. So I have seen example after example of that happening in this group. And so I am very excited for you to join us, Shannon, and also hopefully Melissa and the other people who were watching tonight. So thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. Thank you again to Elizabeth Cohen, Asha Frost, Autumn Saunders, and Nicole Galata. I'm so grateful for your presence. I'm so grateful for all of the Origin Empresses. You make every day just an absolute joy, and I love being in community with you. So, and I am so excited to meet the new Empresses who will be joining us this time around. Again, doors close tomorrow at midnight. I would recommend joining as an annual member. You'll get incredible bonuses, and you would just think of it like a year-long course where you're getting tidbits of information over time, and you will invest in yourself this year to revolutionize your relationship with time so you can get more done with less stress, get better results with less effort and more ease. And that's it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Night, night. Bye.